Okay, we are recording. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. I'm so appreciative of you guys showing up tonight at 8:30 on a Tuesday night because I gotta tell you, I'm not really a fan of these late night after bedtime things. So we value your time and I really, really appreciate you being here. Um, and I'm super duper excited to introduce you to one of my close friends. Her name is Dr. Catherine Caden. She's actually a prenatal and pediatric chiropractor. She's been in practice for the last 18 years. She's married. She has two sweet little boys who are very much her driving force and her why. And due to her autoimmune experiences, she's actually pursuing additional functional medicine training and is super passionate about nutrigenomics. She actually stumbled upon nutrigenomics, let's say, because of her own experience and struggles with her own health. So I think that's partially, if not all, why she's so passionate about the subject. She's an emerging leader with the company. She is a fellow Crunchy mom, a blogger, a very dear friend and fellow nutrition nerd. So it's truly my honor to have her here, you guys. Like, she's extremely busy. And so it's a really big deal that we get some of her time tonight. She's brilliant. So with that said, I am going to shut up and let you guys hear from her and manage her PowerPoint slide tonight. So Kat, take it away.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Joy. Sometimes there's a little bit of feedback, but I don't know if everybody can hear me. I'm honored to be here and speaking to you guys on a Tuesday night, as Joy said. And what we're going to be talking about tonight is the company, the product from this amazing company that has changed my life and could potentially change yours. And it's in a field called nutrigenomics. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about that. And the topic of the conversation is biohacking your body. So as you can see here from the lovely slides, we're going to be talking about biohacking and what that has to do with your health. So on the next slide, there's a little disclaimer. Anything that you hear with regards to whenever I do a business presentation and I'm talking a little bit about the financial claims, that's the disclaimer. We're also making sure that you understand that nothing I say about any of these products is meant to cure, mitigate, treat, heal, anything like that. We are in the space of nutrition and health and improving your body's ability to function. We're not making disease claims. And please, you know, for us to be able to have our access to it, we want to be able to protect that. So biohacking, as you see here defined, it says lets you control your body with cutting edge science to help you get out of life by redefining what you put into it. And basically, it's taking a complex system like the human body and doing stuff. Like I would almost call it being like a guinea pig, but it's really changing your health by adding, subtracting, doing different things to help change your biochemistry. So that's what I would call biohacking. So we went backwards.
My friend, I told you that.
That's okay. That's okay. We haven't biohacked your technology yet. So nutrigenomics is one very powerful way of actually leveraging or biohacking our bodies. It's using nutrition, nutrients, supplements, and so forth, and activators like we'll discuss tonight to activate or affect our genes, to turn them on, turn them off, etc. So nutrigenomics is part of a whole big field of genomics. What we've all been seeing, without doubt, in the last 20 or so years, 30 years, is a rise in numerous diseases. As a practitioner, personally, I've experienced seeing a great increase in the past 5 to 6 years. And I can speak more on why I think that that's so, and why we especially need to biohack now more than ever. But as you can see here, celiac disease, ADHD, autism. I think autism last week CDC came out with, it's like 1 in 52 or 1 in 59 now, who are being diagnosed on the autism spectrum. Diabetes, fibromyalgia, hypothyroidism, etc. This disease, the diseases are increasing. Synthroid is for thyroid. T4 for thyroid is the #1 prescribed drug in the United States. So it's crazy how much increase in disease we've had. So next slide. So what does that have to do with oxidative stress, and what is oxidative stress? So let me bring you to an understanding. I know there's a really pretty picture there. It's actually pretty ugly. It's a picture of an apple, and you could take an apple, you could take a banana, you could take anything, you can just oxidize it or put it in air. And what happens to it? It rusts. So oxidative stress is more commonly known as like free radical damage to most of us. And it's associated with all the over 200 diseases and conditions, some of which you saw on the previous slide. It's basically mutations to our cells. It's taking normal cells and changing them into abnormal cells. And this happens because the toxins in the air that we're breathing, and I think we'd all agree, some of us are very nutrition nerdy, and we would say that there's a lot more junk in our food, there's more crap in our air, we're pumping gas, we have, the chemtrails, we have increase in vaccines, we have increase in our load. Our threshold has been tipped. And so even the Wi-Fi and the EMFs, so like I have like a case protector and all sorts of stuff on my phone because I do need to use my phone. We've made it a society where like it's very challenging to not use a smartphone. And yet like I have to turn my Wi-Fi off at night because the exposure just is so much that it increases our disease. And that is something that we can change. So if you see in that picture on the side of the apples or below the apples, you can see the normal cell and how it looks like attacked by free radicals, and then a cell with oxidative stress. It's not a happy, healthy cell. And we're made up of cells. So we need happy, healthy cells. And you can see on the other side, a little graph of what free radicals and oxidative stress are linked to. And we're supposed to have some, right? We're supposed to have some. We're not meant to be living in a vacuum, but we're exposed to so much more now. So next slide. One of the sites that as a practitioner, as a doctor that I use frequently to look things up is PubMed, pubmed.gov. It's the National Institutes of Health Library of Medicine. Every practitioner, every doctor that you see is familiar with PubMed.gov. It is the largest receptacle of research and knowledge that we have out there. And basically, and this is being updated all the time, when I first found out about oxidative stress from this company, there were only 130,000 studies, and that was just 2 years ago. There are now over 182,000 studies linking oxidative stress to every disease that you can think of. So again, I can't make a cure claim when we talk about the product and how it affects oxidative stress, but I want you to do your due diligence and look it up, because any way you can mitigate your oxidative stress and biohack your body, you should. It's linked to cancer. It's linked to diabetes. It's linked to autism. It's linked to eczema. It's linked to headaches. It's linked to even the migraine type headaches. It's linked to everything that you don't want, infertility, you name it. And we all have it. It's literally something that is happening to all of us all the time. And those of us who are biohacking a lot, we might look crazy, but like we're so impacted by what's going on in our environments. We literally have to do this to function the way we're functioning. So anyway, on PubMed, you can type in oxidative stress and you can type in the pathway NRF2, which I'll be talking about a little bit later, and the product, which we'll also be talking about. But bookmark that because that is fantastic. So free radicals damages our cells. Like I discussed, we call that oxidative stress in the medical community. As I insinuated, it's the root cause of over 200 plus diseases. There's some some studies have shown that we have 100 sextillion free radicals per day with, 100 with 23 zeros, or 300 septillion, which is with 26 zeros. Whatever it is, it's an enormous number. And people are trying to use antioxidants. I even saw like a cherry Coke when I went through an aisle in a grocery store that I don't usually frequent because Whole Foods doesn't have cherry Coke. But in this particular store, I saw it had like added antioxidants. I was like, well, that's hilarious. But also, everybody's catching on about antioxidants. And they're good. Please don't stop eating your antioxidant foods. We need them as cofactors for other reactions and gene function in our body. But they're not doing this. They are not neutralizing your free radicals at all. They used to be able to, but now that we have soil depletions and that we have more exposure to oxidative stress, we don't have enough leverage. So this is how much we're being exposed. So we are looking for solutions, and what we're going to be talking about today is a product called Protandim, specifically. And we can talk more about how you can get a little bit more information about the original primetime investigative report that was done on this amazing product. It was done on ABC News. But let me tell you about the story about why it's so phenomenal and why it works. When we are talking about those direct antioxidants like a vitamin C or the blueberries that you're eating and whatnot, that's neutralizing one free radical per one molecule of direct antioxidant. How many blueberries or goji berries or acai berries or all that stuff do you have to eat? A lot, like 300 septillion or 100 sextillion. That is a lot. And we would have to spend our entire day just eating those things. So obviously that's not realistic. Well, there's a pathway in our body that when activated is able to neutralize free radicals at a higher percentage. And why? Well, because it flips on, when it is turned on, it's called the NRF2 pathway. Nuclear erythroid factor 2, the NRF2, they're lowercase NRF2. When it is activated, it is literally able to turn on your body's own production of its own antioxidant enzymes. And when it does so, it turns on catalase, glutathione, and SOD. Anyone who's been out there heard anything about glutathione, glutathione's ability to be increased by 300% by this product is one of the main reasons why I'm so passionate about it. So we mentioned the NRF2 pathway. NRF2 activation, like I said, if you do ketosis, if you take green tea and so forth, you can activate your NRF2, but minimally. To get leverage to actually reduce the NRF2, to activate the NRF2 to reduce your free radicals at a rate of 1 million to 1 instead of 1 to 1, kind of like the picture we just saw. It's like a fire hose in every room of your burning down fire rather than a Dixie cup of water on your house fire. The solution is having an activator for your NRF2 pathway. And Protandim was discovered to do just that. In 2006, there was a study on Protandim that gives us a legal right to make a claim. So this claim we can make that by taking one Protandim NRF2 synergizer or activator, you can turn on your body's own ability to fight free radicals at 40% in 30 days. So it's a 40% reduction in oxidative stress in 30 days in all mammals. That is just crazy. It turns on 400 plus survival genes, turns off tons and tons, hundreds of fibrosis and inflammation genes. It has one of its patents is on reducing C-reactive protein for inflammation. And it's so safe. It's even got one of the studies was on the National Institute on Aging, a division of NIH, which also was a study that showed that there's a 7% increase in lifespan. Athletes can use it. It has banned substance control group seal, so athletes can use it, and it's not considered performance enhancement. Although once you use it, I would say that it enhances performance. So why does it work? thank you for pulling up this slide. I love looking at this because, you know, I've looked at graphs in school and so forth, but this is phenomenal. Many of us have heard of the 5 ingredients that are in Protandim, and I want to talk to you about what they are. They are turmeric, which we know is anti-inflammatory, ashwagandha, which is like mood stabilizing and increases our sexual vitality. Yay. We have bacopa, which is a white flowering plant, which actually ramps the nerve 2 pathway on its own. Green tea, great for the heart, great for a lot of things. Has some nice caffeine in it, but not this product. And then milk thistle, which is great and detoxifying for the liver. So we've all probably heard, if you're into nutrition as much as we are, how those all can be very great for you. But what's so fascinating is the way when they were combined in this particular product, and there are a few patents on a few different combinations, but when they were combined, they flipped on the NRF2 pathway in a synergistic combination of sub-therapeutic dosages, meaning that the amount of curcumin, it wasn't like 500 milligrams of turmeric, it was like 75. It's such a small amount that individually broken up, if you were to take the ingredients of Protandim and break them up, they would not function on their own. When they were combined, there was an 18 times increase or 1800% increase in their function, which is how we got that. So this is where we say the action is greater than the sum of its parts. Fascinating to me that something can work like this, and that's why we call it an activator. It's not a supplement. It activates your body. So it's fascinating. Next slide. So following that ABC Primetime Investigative Report that I alluded to before, and based off of time, we didn't want to like have you watch that tonight, but please, whoever invited you to this call, please make sure you get a chance to take a look at that original ABC News Primetime Investigative Report that aired back in 2005. $5 million worth of orders came in overnight just on sheer speculation of what Protandim was going to do in people's bodies. The company wasn't ready to do anything with that, which is why a lot of people ask, well, how come I haven't seen it in stores and so forth? They had no infrastructure, no sales team, no marketing team. These were, you know, guys in white lab coats. And yes, I think they were all guys. Sorry, misogynist. But they were all guys, and they didn't know what to do. But they did get contacted by researchers and universities from across the country and across the world. And so that's where they started to initiate and fund studies. Over 50 studies were initiated and funded, and 23 have been completed. 16 were completed by the time I came on board. 23 have been completed, 2 of which I mentioned to you. One of them by LSU used Protandim to dip skin cancer cells in, and the skin is our largest organ, and so they created a skincare line to help create NRF2 activation for all 7 layers of the skin. So pretty amazing what this company has done. This is information that's available. Again, like PubMed I mentioned before, you can actually type Protandim into PubMed. So there are many studies, and it's incredible how helpful it is. One of my favorite studies is this one, and it's about NRF2 being quoted as being the most extraordinary therapeutic breakthrough in the history of medicine. So, you know, antibiotics are considered pretty amazing. A lot of things are considered to be at the top of the top. But when you hear from a major university that they consider this to be the most extraordinary therapeutic and extraordinary preventative therapeutic breakthrough in like the history of medicine, you kind of have to pause and go, wow. Drug companies and other companies are literally joining, because it's so expensive to be a drug company these days, combining forces to make NRF2 activators. There are some that are on the market, and they are not functional. They're not as functional, and they're massively expensive. And you need a prescription and a diagnosis, for instance, of MS, which no thank you. The company also went into other scientific pathways to try to help activate our bodies. Another one is NRF1. So this is also called Protandim. This is called NRF1. I believe it should actually be all capitalized just for anybody who's a researcher. NRF1 is a different pathway in our body. I apologize, remember from the life of me what it stands for. But there is incredible research being done on it, and it is for the mitochondria. So if anybody remembers back to their high school science, we had the mitochondria is the powerhouse of your cell. Well, if the motor for your cell is depleted, you won't function properly. So Protandim NRF1 literally turns on the mitochondria, increasing production of the mitochondria, helps enhance your cellular health, helps a lot of people sleep better, helps your cells repair themselves, and many diseases and conditions are also associated with mitochondrial problems. And it's been in the news a lot lately about the mitochondria. I encourage you to do your due diligence. Since taking a mitochondrial support increases oxidative stress because of the production of energy, the ATP, it's recommended that you don't take it without taking NRF2. So we recommend that they be taken together. They don't have to be taken at the same time. They should be taken together in the same day. So that's NRF1. And this is a better explanation with pretty pictures of what the mitochondria is. It's basically food for your cells turned into energy. And so many conditions are associated with dysfunction in the mitochondria. So this is getting to the root cellular level. Both of these products, one is protecting the cellular stress and the cellular from the outside, and the other one is creating cellular energy. So it's like taking a VW bug and turning it into like an Aston Martin, and not rusted, but pretty and shiny. So I'm for that. So there you go. One of the other pieces of the puzzle for most of us, if you don't already know, is hearing about leaky gut, also known as intestinal permeability. Our gut is our brain is our gut. 17 to 21 days post-conception, you have a rudimentary nervous system, and I'm passionate about it as a chiropractor, but I'm so passionate because I know that the combination that literally leads to the brain and the gut. And so if a mom doesn't have a healthy gut and the baby doesn't have a healthy gut, nobody's going to be healthy without a good microbiome. So it's linked to brain problems. It's linked to other diseases. It's linked to intestinal problems. Everything is linked to having insufficient microbiome or a disrupted microbiome. So why I like this one is a Physique Probio. First of all, I love the fact that it does not have to be refrigerated, which was like an anathema to me. It was so weird to me that I didn't have to refrigerate a probiotic. And it only has 6 billion CFUs. I also couldn't understand how that's possible. Well, it uses 2 patented technologies. One's called BioTrack and one called Wellmune. So it has a protection on the outside. It's coated, it's circular. The protection prevents it from degrading, so it doesn't need to be in the fridge. And it also doesn't let it disintegrate in your stomach acids, which is why some of your other probiotics have to have hundreds of thousands of bacteria and be refrigerated, is because they're so sensitive to touching air and touching water that they have to be kept refrigerated. This also, each layer disintegrates where it needs to in the intestinal tract, which is amazing because we only need certain probiotics in certain parts of our tract. It also has prebiotic fiber, which helps to feed the probiotics. It helps to feed the bacteria in your gut, the healthy bacteria in your gut. And many people report having like a smoother stomach and better bowel movements, and generally just feeling better. I mean, Physique Probio, I think, is a very great probiotic. And if you've never taken one before, ever, I would start with like one little tiny pellet. This is the one thing where I have not been able to give it to my children because it is, if I crush this, it will wreck the protective coating. So this one, I have to give a different probiotic to my kids. But other than that, I give the other stuff to my kids. Thanks. So speaking of things I give to my children, they actually adore this. They can chew it. This is one of our newest products, and it's not just like any other fish oil. One thing I really like is, a lot of people talk about farm to table. This is boat to bottle. There are a few companies that are starting to do this, where they trace which boat got to which bottle, and it's fascinating to me because that helps to ensure quality and where it came from. This is, I believe, pollock and cod. It is not salmon. And it is omega-7 and omega-3. There's no omega-6 in this. And I actually like that because omega-6, we get plenty of it, and it's inflammatory. We get plenty of it in our diets with nuts, seeds, meats, etc. This company, though, isn't focused on having you take omegas for heart health, even though that's really good. This one's DHA rich, which is the kind that people take when they're pregnant or they give to their children. It has a high amount of DHA because that's good for the brain. So we love ours. It tastes like lemony, citrusy, and I like to chew it too sometimes. So I love omega. Because of the fact that people are traveling and want convenience, the company recently came out with what's called a vitality stack. It has all 4 things that we just discussed. Those are my top recommendations for almost anyone. It's so different than taking a multivitamin or fixing your minerals that might be depleted, or exercising or getting adjusted or sleeping. This is something that doesn't exist. Other companies are trying to create NRF2 activators. They're not proven to work. They're more expensive. And NRF2 combined with NRF1, Physique, and Omega are really kind of at the root cause of helping your body at a cellular level. So this is something I'm really excited about. I could have used some today. I'm doing a little bit of a detox, but I love Axio. So Axio was originally marketed as energy drinks. It's so different than an energy drink. It's actually mental clarity and an executive function drink. I'm super focused and able to do so much when I have an Axio that, like, I take it for granted sometimes. I love water, so I'm pretty much a snob about drinking anything else. I don't drink a lot of other things. Tequila sometimes, sorry, I had to say that. But Axio is a great thing. I do give the decaf to my children, sometimes a little bit of caffeinated. But it has green tea extract, which we already know is good for us. New Zealand pine bark. This is something I didn't get to talk to Joy about this earlier today, but New Zealand pine bark or Monterey pine bark, or a lot of the pine barks that are out there, even French pine bark, pycnogenol, is being studied to be so effective for the brain, for brain function, that even like some supplements are coming out with just pycnogenol in them, or pine bark. So number one, brain function is improved. This actually ramps the NRF2 pathway in the brain, which is phenomenal. L-syntheanine, or L-theanine, known to some people, is really great for sustained energy, helps you be alert. I do not get jittery from this. I have gotten jittery from coffee. I do not get jittery from this. And I actually think it's very therapeutic and helps people sleep later on. And then quercetin, which is phenomenal antioxidant on its own. It's great for people who have histamine issues, reduces inflammation, helps the heart. It also has some niacin, some methylated B vitamins in it, and it also has some magnesium. So I love Axio, and maximum, I would say, oh, and yes, in the caffeinated version, thank you for showing this picture. In the caffeinated version, there's DMAE, and caffeine, obviously, in the caffeinated version. But DMAE has been used for a long time and was used before Ritalin came out, to help with attention and alertness, without people being overstimulated. So it's pretty incredible. When I say I'm focused, DMAE helps the focus, but I still have that effect even just with the combination of the Monterey pine bark and the L-syntheanine and quercetin and B vitamins in the non-caffeinated version. I did start, because I'm an autoimmune person, I did start with only a half of a decaf initially, and then I worked my way up to 2 caffeinated. To each their own. I wouldn't have like 6 of these a day, but I would say that it's pretty incredible. I think, do you have the picture on the next slide of, so this is pretty wild. And one of my colleagues in the chiropractic profession, and this pretty much blew my mind, I saw him in the Bahamas this past weekend. He left, he didn't like leave the chiropractic profession because there's anything wrong with chiropractic. He wanted to impact people's lives more. And he's been in practice 18 years like me. And one of his patients came in and had been on Protandim, and then they started, his mom said, you know, Axio just came out, I want to give him Axio. And he had spectrum issues and attention issues. And this is the difference in his writing in 2 weeks of being on Axio and Protandim. So like I said, we can't make claims or anything, but I think this is very powerful as a mom of, 2 active boys. You know, we do a lot to have our kids be able to write like the picture that has the better writing. But oh my goodness, if you're like super stressed out and you can't do all this great stuff for your kids, look at the leverage that you can get with 2 relatively inexpensive compared to other things, other interventions that might buy you some time, might get you some relief, might get everybody to just be able to chill out, you know? So take a look at that. That's amazing. As I mentioned, ProBio is part of a set. Personally, I have not been able to use the shake. It's a protein shake, but physique basically means intelligent, physique, phys IQ. There is a weight management system that uses a cleanse that I actually really like. It's only $15 for that cleanse. I think it's amazing. You can do it like once a month. And the ProBio, it has a fat burn, and it has, it's a patented fat burn, and then a protein shake with very minimal calories and just a little bit of protein just for satiety. And it's like pretty much lactose free, but it is whey-based protein. So it's great if you're looking for something to kind of kickstart your digestive system and you haven't ever done anything before. It's a nice gentle way to start. And I think the physique ProBio and the cleanse can be used more on a maintenance basis. Personally, I think so, and I like them. These are some of the results. True Science, I mentioned before. It's okay, you can skip over those unless people want to stare at that beautiful body. True Science is a 4-step regimen. I was really compliant for the first year on doing morning and night. Now I do probably morning, and then I focus on the eye serum and the anti-aging cream. The first thing that ever came out was number 4, the anti-aging cream. It's pretty phenomenal what it does. Like I said, they dipped skin cancer cells in it. And again, we can't say it cures anything, but it had a chemotherapeutic effect. I will tell you that I was in the past month, I was in Mexico for a week, and I was in the Bahamas for a week, or for 5 days. And I put a little bit of sunscreen on here and here. And the place where I've been using the NRF2, no peeling, nothing, 0. And I couldn't believe it. Like, I didn't burn. I used it where I had been burned. My feet peeled, and I had put sunscreen on them, and my feet peeled, my face didn't. So I was pretty amazed by that. I also used it on half of my C-section scar from my first birth, because I'm a scientist and a biohacker. So I only did half, and it actually diminished the scar appearance. I do recommend it to my patients who have had cesareans and so forth. So it's pretty phenomenal. We can put you into a group that has more of these testimonials and pictures if you're a visual person like me, if you have any desire to take a look at pictures. And I can tell you my story later with my hands and Nerf too. So anyway, that's True Science, and I think it's really great. It's nice. This is a picture of results from True Science on the left. Or is it on the left for everybody else? I don't know. The female's face there. And then the other one is True Science used on the hands and Protandim. This person had obviously a very debilitating skin condition, as you can see, and it was gone like in like a very short period of time. So those are those results. Pet tandem. So people were giving this to their dogs. They were giving it to their cats. They were giving it to their horses. They were giving it to any mammal that they love and cherish. So the company created, originally it was called Canine Health. They created Pet Tandem because this is Pet Tandem dogs. I'm sure eventually we'll have Pet Tandem cats because cats like different flavors, I'm sure. But this has joint support and it has NRF2. It is the only NRF2 at all on the market for pets. I do not have a dog, but I can tell you that I have people who have had dogs resurrect from crazy situations. And it's been published in a variety of different magazines for dogs' health and in dentistry, for like their teeth and everything, improves by activating the NRF2 pathway and reducing oxidative stress. Every conversation I'm having these days, even with doctors on phone calls for specialty labs about stool tests or anything like that, they're like, well, there's this pathway called the NRF2 pathway. I'm like, great. So our dogs have oxidative stress too, our cats, our horses. We do have many veterinarians in this business. And if you would love to speak to somebody who's a vet or know more information about how pets can benefit, let the person know who invited you to this call. So this one, I actually had not read this one. Oregon State says, when it finds a problem, NRF2 goes back to the cellular nucleus, rings the alarm bell, and it turns on, as I had mentioned before, the 200 survival genes. It apparently is now 400 plus survival genes. So longevity assurance factor by turning on NRF2.
That's it. That's the end of the slide.
That's the end. Okay, great. So I didn't know where we had ended it on here, but what I'm going to say to everybody is, if you're open, Joy, I could take a couple questions or whatever. Okay. If anybody has any questions, you know, it was just a brief overview of our products with this company, and I'd love to answer your questions if you have any.
You guys can just unmute yourself and ask a question if you want. Kind of cool to have a functional medicine practitioner answer questions.
Answer about giving it. I can tell you my story.
Tell your story if
yeah. Okay. I can try to send you my pictures, but here's the story. So about March 2014, I had dental work. Oh, somebody wrote a question. Hold on. What if you already have had breast cancer? Absolutely can take it. I know Naomi's on here and she could speak to that. Can you unmute yourself, Naomi?
Absolutely.
All right. Can you answer that?
Yes, actually, it's been probably the best thing, especially if you are, I don't know if the person that just asked, if you've been on tamoxifen. It was one of the things I could not handle, tamoxifen.
No, she's not.
Okay, she's not. Anyways, one thing I had done a lot of research before I got on this product was I knew that I needed to increase my glutathione. And so that was one reason why I took a look at this, was because I knew that in one of the studies, it increases glutathione by 300%. So I knew that was really important to me. And then just the fact that there's so many genes that are associated with breast cancer, which then I know I've seen the studies in regards to the colon cancer, the P53 gene, that just what it's doing to our genes. And I just want to protect myself and reduce the oxidative stress. So there is a gentleman by the name of Dr. Block. He runs the Block Center out of Chicago. He's a phenomenal doctor. He actually even says one of the number one things that's going to bring your cancer back is oxidative stress. So when I heard that this would reduce my oxidative stress, and that was one thing that my oncologist kept telling me, the number one thing that will bring your cancer back is oxidative stress. Well, he couldn't give me an answer, Dr. Kat, on how to reduce that, which I thought was interesting. And so when, you know, I found this information, I was blown away that I finally found the answer to how to reduce my oxidative stress. I think, Lori, I saw that you posted that you are triple negative. Did you see that? Yes. Actually, there's a woman by the name of Donna Deegan who's triple negative. She has been diagnosed 3 times. She has now been on this. Her and I have actually done a recorded call together that I could send you, as well as with a breast cancer pathologist.
Wow.
So Lori, if you want that information, go ahead and just, I don't know if you're connected with Dr. Kat or Joy, but feel free to get connected to me.
He says, yes, please. There you go.
Okay.
That's perfect. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. I have actually a couple of business partners of mine who are breast cancer survivors. It's powerful to reduce your oxidative stress. It's linked to everything. I mean, almost every single child who comes into my practice with autism, et cetera, or ADHD has oxidative stress levels that are high because they have depleted glutathione levels. And taking glutathione isn't always as effective because that's an exogenous antioxidant. And we need to ramp our body's ability to make its own endogenous. You don't want to take something from the exterior that your body makes. Like our body doesn't make vitamin C. We need to eat things with vitamin C. But our body does make glutathione unless it's completely suppressed. And so it can be suppressed by Tylenol. Okay? Tylenol suppresses it. So I'm going to tell my story and then I can answer some other questions, and then we'll like wrap it up in like the next like 7 or 8 minutes, just for everybody, for respect for their time. And I can send pictures to whoever needs this. I haven't done a formal story because I'm super compliant type of person. And I actually was a little bit embarrassed about it because of how much I had done to take pressure off my body. So about 4 years ago, I was weaning from breastfeeding my youngest, and I went to the dentist to have some work done, and I'm allergic to certain antibiotics and asked for different ones. And I didn't realize that the ones I had asked for, because I never take them, would destroy my gut. And it so thoroughly destroyed my gut that it must have created so much oxidative stress, because my microbiome was destroyed. Even though I've eaten an autoimmune paleo diet for years, I've eaten paleo, and I've taken all the supplements that you miss out on when you are paleo. I was on high dose probiotics. I've been getting adjusted by a chiropractor. I've done the saunas. I've done all the healthy things and overtly looked healthy, but I had a debilitating skin rash for a year and a half. A debilitating skin rash on my hands, which as a chiropractor adjusting 40 patients a day, that's like incongruent. And I was trying to figure out a way to like think about how to close my practice because I didn't know when it would ever go away. I tried everything medically and non-medically. I personally spent $17,000 in a year and a half trying to heal this. And then when my friend who's on here, and I'm forever thankful, and she was persistent that I take a look at this. She was like, you have an onus on you as a practitioner to take a look at this information. Even if you don't want to take it, she said, you need to check this out. I don't know if it's going to do anything with your hands, but you need to check it out. So fast forward, I didn't take it at first, of course, because I was a skeptic. And I went to my sister's wedding in the south of France. And there was no Wi-Fi, there was no TV, not that I watched it anyway. There was the Mediterranean Ocean, the sunshine, good food, no GMOs, no chemtrails. And in 6 days, my hands got better. And I was like, holy crow, come back to the States. And within 2 or 3 days, it's in full-fledged rash. And I didn't know at the time that we also had mold and all this other stuff, which is another whole story. But fast forward to finally, I decided to come and listen to this information, much like you did this evening. I watched that ABC News primetime investigative report, and I thought, oh my gosh, okay, well, it may not be for me because I'm a food snob and nutrition snob, et cetera, but I bet you this could help my patients who maybe don't want to take on the diet and all the other stuff that I'm doing. So I signed up, and then I was like, I should probably take it. So I took it, and within 2 weeks, my rash was gone. It was gone. So as you can imagine, I then had like the FOMO of like, oh my goodness, I not only have to share this with my entire family, and I shared it with my friends. I was like, I need to jump on board and share this with everybody. So that's why I'm here tonight. Passionate about sharing this information to have you have leverage. Do you need to stop exercising? No. Do you have to sleep still? Yes. Should you be off your phone? Yes. But can you really reduce your oxidative stress and improve your body with just a 40 $41 pill. I mean, $41 per 30 pills per month. Yes. I mean, not $41 a pill, although I would probably pay it. I'm just saying. Probably not for like a daily thing. I'd probably just find a way to live in another country with no Wi-Fi. But anyway, that's that. I see a couple chat questions. Let's see. Can you speak to the impact on inflammatory bowel disease, specifically ulcerative colitis in pediatrics? So again, we can't make disease claims. There are numerous people who have had experiences that are positive, even somebody who is a business partner of mine who had high markers for inflammatory bowel disease and ulcerative colitis. There's obviously a component to do with gluten can be involved, leaky gut and all that, but it has only been positive for people taking Nerf2 at the very least. I'm assuming you're asking about that, about Nerf2 and its impact. Probiotics and other things have been well studied. Yes. Okay. So Nicole, there is, just much like Lori was asking, there is a colleague of mine who has interviewed somebody who had ulcerative colitis and inflammatory bowel disease and his experience with NRF2. If you're up for watching a video, I can connect you to that information if you'd like. And that way you can hear like a personal testimonial that is compliant. And then you can also look up oxidative. Okay, great. Just get connected to me and I will tag you in that. And then the other thing I was going to say is look up those conditions and their relationship to oxidative stress. Hands down, the glutathione is made in our liver and in our gut. Like we need that. Oh, wow. Jen, impacts on Lyme disease. That's a huge conversation. There is a great video on biohacking Lyme, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so Joy can connect you to that information. There are some people who do immediately really well, and there's some people who have to go extremely low and slow. But yes, it can potentially positively impact a Lyme disease. So that's great. Yes, she would like that. Jen would like to be connected to that information. So, okay, for someone with leaky gut, any recommendations to go hand in hand with probio is probio alone is not sufficient for healing a leaky gut. It's a great start. Without getting into like me being a treating doctor to a patient, I will say that probably a gut healing protocol would be very helpful, but probiotics are a huge part of that. Probiotics, prebiotics, digestive enzymes, and cleaning up your diet, removing gluten and dairy. And that's probably all I can legally say, but it's definitely part of it. And I would say NRF2. How effective do you think it would be if diet isn't the best? My daughter has several food texture aversions, so we struggle with food. Like you said, I would say that I would start with Nerf2, and if she can swallow the probio, that would be helpful. Again, it's leverage. So sometimes texture and aversions to food are related to mineral depletions, can be related to oxidative stress, can be related to, and Niall and I could speak to this on some other time, but on fascial restrictions in the jaw, the mouth, tongue tie. She may not have been a good nurser when she was younger. And also restrictions in the cervical spine. So this is why I end up seeing people in my office, as chiropractic patients. Doses. Okay. So as you would read on the bottle, it's not been, blessed and approved for children. That said, I don't know any supplement that is, nor is any medication. Like doctors hand out Miralax like it's candy, and you're not supposed to take it under the age of 17 and for not longer than 10 days. So, so that being said, what I have heard and what we go by is under 100 pounds, you go by 25 pounds. So a quarter of a tablet is for a 25 pounds individual. A half would be 50 pounds. 3/4 would be for 75 pounds, and a full pill for 100 pounds. My children together are 85 pounds, and they are taking 1.5 Nerf2 now, and 1 Nerf1 mixed in. So I hope that helps. Oh, you?
Yeah, can I just say, I feel passionate about this subject, actually. So just about the doses and the kids and stuff really quickly. I was introduced to this. Kat actually introduced me. I was so skeptical. It's not even funny. In April of 2016. I took it for a year. And then finally, after me taking it for a year, I decided to take it to my pediatrician to ask if it would be safe to try on my children. She is a homeopath. She has a background in nutrition. I pay out of pocket and drive an hour to see her. I have been seeing her for 9 years, a little bit more than that actually now, 9.5. And I have asked her about essential oils, oregano oil. I've even asked her about like probiotics and stuff. She pretty much poo-poos every single thing that I've ever put in front of her. And her answer is always the same. You don't need that, just eat real food. So I brought Protandim, the Nerf 2, to her to say, because I knew that she had looked at the science, and I said, is this safe to give my kids? I wasn't really looking for her to endorse it. Like, I just wanted to know it's not going to kill them. And what she said to me is really why I'm sitting here today, honestly. She said, not only should you give this to your children, but you should give it to everyone you love. Like, I could cry when I like it. It was so powerful that this woman said that. So I went home and I started. My son at the time was 3, my daughter was 8, and my other daughter was 10. The girls started on a half a pill, and my son, who was probably about 40 pounds, maybe 38 pounds at the time, started on like a third, give or take. They stayed there for probably about 6 months. And then we got impetigo this past October.
Oh.
Horrible. It's worse than lice, you guys. Like, I don't wish that on anybody. And it was awful. And I was throwing everything at it that I possibly could. And I bumped them all up to a full dose. And I have left them there since. So my son is now 5. He's about 53 pounds. My girls are probably 80 pounds and 90 pounds. And they take one full pill. And then actually just recently, in April, again, there must be something about April, I started them on a half dose of the Nerf 1, which is the mitochondrial support. And I am amazed every single time I sort of ramp them up, I see a significant difference. So hopefully that was helpful in terms of dosing in kids.
Yes, thanks for that. So I think we'll wrap it up, and we could definitely do this again sometime. I enjoyed being Kenzie takes a whole pill. Cool. She's 9 and she's not anywhere near 100 pounds, right? Yeah. Ashley has a great story about that too. So I hope that has been helpful. We do, like I mentioned before, we have a group that is on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, that it's all customer information. So if you take a look, we do recommend taking a look at that ABC News report, and then coming on board to that group and perusing around and learning more. If it's overwhelming to you to kind of go search the interwebs, a lot of really good information has been put into one spot, and you can be tagged in things that are relevant to you. Or, like, I like more information, or I want to talk to somebody personally, we can set that up, and I'm happy to talk to you individually. So it doesn't have to be like in a public forum. We can talk. So I hope that was helpful for everybody.
It was so great. Thank you, Kat. And thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here. We hope it was helpful and you got something out of it. Reach out to whoever added you here if you want more information, and we can, go at your pace, whatever you need. We're happy to help. Thanks, you guys. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.
End the recording.